I'll take 50 grand for anybody who wants to get me to not speak. So, thank you very much. Several months ago when I was asked to speak, I immediately said yes. I couldn't hesitate to not give back to such a wonderful organization. I think it's still a mystery as to why they asked me, but I really do think that I somewhat figured that out. But I would first like to say thank you to everybody in this room for everything you've done, for all of those people in the room that have been touched by cancer. It's incredible what you've done. But we need you to do more, and that's why you're here tonight. As I reminisced over what to say, I just felt like my journey was really filled with smiles, laughter, and people. And that's what I wanted to share with you tonight, is all the people that were in my life that did this. So why are we here tonight? We're really here to bring awareness to and raise money for this incredible organization that does so much for victims of cancer, patients, their families, their friends, and their caregivers. And what they do is simply incredible. It's very important. Like I said, why I'm here is still a mystery, but I think I really did figure out why I was here. It's not hard to figure out that with a name like Sean O'Brien, I'm Irish. So I think they figured that possibly with my Irish bullshit, I could get you guys to inspire to write a big check. I really think that it's by the time, at some point during the night, you'll start throwing checks up here just to get me to shut up. So there's a lot of things you don't want to give an Irishman, but there's two things you definitely don't want to give an Irishman. One is a free Guinness, and the other is an open microphone. I'm confident that the committee knew exactly what they were doing when they asked me to do this. So, with that, while you get your check out, I'm going to tell you a few stories about the people that were involved in my life. So if you want to get your check out now, or how are my slides doing? Okay. So it'll be a little bit of a long night. Just under 2 years ago, feeling a little bit sluggish, I was admitted in the Siteman Cancer Center. I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia and was Philadelphia chromosome positive. It's like, what the hell is that? I thought a couple of pills, a few days in the hospital, I'd be back home in no time. But that wasn't necessarily the case. Learning that I would have to do a few rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, and a stem cell transplant, I was then surrounded by my beautiful family, friends, and a world-class medical team who helped me to stand here today. A few days later, after I was in the hospital, I received a text message from one of our beautiful hosts from tonight's evening, Kim Sella. It is fair to say that Kim and I really did not know each other well. We've gotten to know each other, but we did not know each other well, and that really does say something, because not only did I receive a text message, there were several phone messages that led to a phone conversation, and after my first stay at Siteman Cancer Center, I received a call from Kim inviting me to lunch. The more I tell this story, as I'm standing here, it sounds like this is going to end up in some incredible love story, and Ted, I promise you, there is nothing going on. Yet. But seriously, if you look at this, I mean, if you were Kim, wouldn't you be all over this? I mean, this here is the total package. I mean, the swollen face, the biggest bald head you have ever seen in your entire life. I mean, and plus, look at the body language. She is absolutely leaning into me. So I really do think Kim had a crush on me, and Ted, the one thing I would say to you is it's clear you need to sharpen up your game. After that, Kim reached out to me and we had lunch. It was a beautiful lunch where she shared a story with me about her brother, Jamie, who had the same cancer that I was diagnosed with and had this miraculous recovery. And to this day, I think he's 13 days in remission. But what was so incredible about that lunch is that after that, she took me to the Cancer Support Center. I had the pleasure of meeting so many staff members. I learned about what they do, how they help people. And it really is incredible, the content and the support that they can provide. But for me, what was so incredible was the people. It's the people that made what they do so special. And when Kim and I would have these conversations, her encouragement, her motivation, her understanding, and really her stories of hope was what really resonated with me. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what the Cancer Support Society is all about. It's the people and the DNA that is inherent in them of what they do for all of us, families, patients, and caregivers. As I mentioned, it was sorry, lost my place. Okay, back on track. I'm so sorry. It was apparent that the luck of the Irish was still in my corner when this gentleman walked into the room. Dr. DiPerzio, who you honored last year, ended up to be my doctor. I'll never forget the words he said to me, and we've had many words, but the words he said to me that night when I first met him was, "Sean, you have a bad cancer. We know how to beat it. I just need you to work hard, be strong, and we're going to get through this." In addition to that, the incredible staff at the hospital, his office, again, supported by the Cancer Support Society, I tell you the truth, they are friends of ours today. They've been to my home. They laugh with my children. They're friends with my sisters and brothers. They truly are a world-class medical facility. And Dr. DiPerzio, you and the entire people at Siteman should be commended for the incredible work that you do. A few days later, a few nurses walked into my room and escorted me to the window overlooking Forest Park. When I looked down from the 5th floor, I saw this crazy mob. This is my family. I'm one of 7 children, all of which, most of them live out of town, and yet they were there for me every single day, 24/7 for months and months from out of town. It was incredible. No one was there more than my sister Maureen, who is also here tonight. It was not an unusual occasion. That I would wake up in the hospital or at home and turn over and hear the same irritating sounds I would always hear. And she was watching some stupid movie of housewives from Ladue or Clayton or, she actually introduced me to that show about the guys with the beard and the duck calls. But I don't know if Maureen had a crystal ball or if she had some other incentive, but she was just always there. It was incredible. There was an additional incentive. Maureen had been talking to the nurses for quite some time, and she had said to them, if I'm Sean's match, I will be his donor on one condition. This is a true story, by the way. She said, if the hospital will throw in a few complimentary procedures, kind of like, that she would be glad to be my donor. It's clear my family is very dysfunctional. It is interesting that no one in my family was a match to me, which was kind of somewhat unique. It was like an 80% chance. Dr. DiPerzio and his team had to turn to the Be the Match organization. This organization is a global bank of ordinary people who commit to donating their stem cells and bone marrow to patients like myself. They're life-saving stem cells and bone marrow. David, who is a 28-year-old father of 3, married, was the person who was my perfect match. And his stem cells were given to me, and I stand here today. Later on this year, I'll meet David, and I get to stand in front of his wife and children and tell him what an incredible, unselfish act he did. But it's my understanding that David does live in Houston, but it's my understanding that David is from Mexico. Now, I am probably the first ever person you will meet tonight who was formerly 100% of Irish blood, and am now 100% Mexican. It comes with some challenges. Now when I go to the pub, part of me says I want a Guinness, and I end up ordering a Corona. But the real benefit here, and I hope that Dr. DiPerzio will help me, is that David's blood and his residency being in Texas, I feel makes me a resident of Texas and will make my daughters eligible for the University of Texas in-state tuition. So. Kim, where's Kim? Kim, if you'll make Dr. DiPerzio support that, any money I save from tuition, I'll donate here.